Good morning, everyone. We will begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama for protection and the permission to participate today in the divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Takamaharani ni kamuzumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite. Sumemi oya kamu izanagi no mikoto. Tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no. Odo no ahagi harani misogi harai tamo utogi ni narimaseru. Harai dono o kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi gegare o. Harai tamae kiyome tamae toma o sukoto no yoshi o. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami ya o yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni ame no fujikoma no mini muritatete kikoshi meseto kashikomi mo maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie mi oya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie mi oya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kannagara tamaji haemase. Kannagara tamaji haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truths given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei. Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. Humanity's mission, the great mission of creating a paradise here on earth, was assigned to humanity by God alone. God works through us, using each human being as an instrument in the divine plan of salvation for humanity. Each of us is born with a physical body and a soul bestowed by God, a part of God's own being. A person is born on the physical plane because he or she has a definite individual mission assigned by God for the fulfillment of God's plan. What is God's plan? From the beginning of creation, God has planned the establishment of a paradise on earth. Words cannot express the grandeur and beauty of God's plan. God has endowed each human being with special talents and capabilities so that his or her individual mission can be performed successfully. God has caused each one to be born and reborn countless times, to live again and again in the physical world in order to move forward toward the ultimate goal of perfection. All things and all events are part of the movement toward this goal. The present day is what I called the turning point from the age of darkness to the daylight age. The entire world is on the verge of taking decisive steps into the new era. Humanity must now throw off the cloak of barbarism so it may reach the heights of a truly enlightened civilization. For the first time on earth, chaos, conflict, disease, and poverty will be eliminated. God has sent us, Johrei, for the purpose of furthering God's great plan in this direction. Crucial role in achieving God's plan.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the Miroku Association headquarters morning service. This morning, I want to share with you the faith experience of Ricardo Souza de Oliveira. He is from Barra Mansa, Rio de Janeiro. Ricardo is 46 years old, and in 2019, after a CAT scan, MRI, and biopsy exams, he was diagnosed with cancer of the throat and tonsils, with metastasis in the neck. He became despaired at the expectation that the worst would happen. Urgent surgery was suggested to remove the malignant tumors. Doctors warned him that it would be a very invasive and traumatic procedure, given the extent of the disease. Recovery would be painful and long, and he would need several months of tube feeding. With that prognosis, his despair increased even more, and he got to the point where he couldn't sleep at night anymore. Faced with this situation of total dismay, his wife remembered a missionary who went to her mother's house to give her Johrei. Thus, they contacted this missionary in October of 2019. They went to the Johrei Center to ask for help. They were very well received by the missionary and direct to talk to the minister. Ricardo was guided to receive as much Johrei as possible and to practice giving daily gratitude donations, which he began to offer with great faith and hope. Upon receiving the first Johrei, he was invaded by the indescribable feeling of peace and lightness. He felt empowered, and despair gave way to an absolute certainty that everything would turn out well. He began to receive Johrei daily, and the day before the surgery, which took place on November 13th, he participated in the monthly appreciation service. The surgery was a success. It was not as traumatic as predicted. He didn't have to go to the ICU, and the next day visits were allowed. Thus, he received intensive Johrei from members who went to see him. He was discharged after 4 days. I did not need to use a tube for feeding. He went to his parents' house and was followed up by a missionary and his wife, who was blessed to receive the sacred focal point of Hikari in December of 2019. Ricardo underwent chemotherapy and radiotherapy sessions, the results of which were surprisingly positive. He is aware that surgery and medical treatment were fundamental. However, he is convinced that if it had not been for the warm welcome he received in our church, and above all, for receiving intensive Johrei, he would not have won this battle. Today, he continues to do routine follow-up. By medical evaluation, he does not show signs of cancer cells in his body. To express his gratitude to God, Meishu-sama, and his ancestors, Ricardo made the decision to become a Johrei member to bring the light of salvation to others, receiving the Hikari in October of last year, 2021. He continues to actively dedicate, channeling Johrei to his family and friends, offering donations of gratitude, serving at the Johrei Center, and seeking to be an increasingly useful instrument in the work of realizing paradise on earth. Thank you very much for listening to this wonderful faith experience. I want to wish a very wonderful day.
This brings to a conclusion our morning service. Thank you everyone for joining us. We wish you a very blessed day.